Let's talk about the news of the week first. On Friday, very narrowly, the defense spending bill passed the House. But it did so by adding a lot of social issue restrictions on it that made it very unlikely to pass the Senate. I'm really curious about how you feel this. There's a 5% pay raise in there that I believe, as a former military man, you are definitely in favor of, and that the debate over these social issues kind of jeopardized that to the minor.
Yeah, as a combat veteran, someone who puts his country first, I hate the fact that both parties continue to fail the American people by using our servicemen and women as pawns for their cultural wars and social experiments. I'd like to get back to the day when we were one nation under God, and our military was focused on fighting and winning our nation's wars and getting back home safely. My focus in this NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, was taking care of Selfridge. And I'm so excited that we were successful in not only looking at how our supply chain can be stronger, as representing the 10th Congressional District, which is the nation's #1 manufacturing district with the best talent that the world has ever seen, but also made a provision for additional fighter jets for the military to produce, and then provision them specifically for the Air National Guard. We have to do everything that we can to fight for Selfridge, and I'm doing everything that I can right here to make sure that our voice is heard and that Selfridge is at the front of the list, not on the back.
You know, you and both of our state senators have spent an awful lot of time on Selfridge, and I'm really curious as to it seems to get passed over for a lot of sort of fighter programs or bomber programs. Some people in Washington, the DoD, seem to have a little bit of trouble finding a real identity for Selfridge, and yet here it's a base right on an international border. It seems odd that it often has to sort of sing for its supper.
Yeah, it's a pure laziness of the bureaucrats here in D.C. who don't see the great value that a super base like Selfridge has that already houses a number of other branches. You look at California that has 4 to 5 fighter missions. New York has 4 fighter missions. And over the past 30 years, we've only lost fighter missions. Well, I was proud that one of my very, very first initiatives as a congressman was to lead a letter directly to Secretary Kendall, the Secretary of the Air Force, with the 3 names on the top being mine and Senator Stabenow and Senator Peters. Now, for those who may have been under a rock for the past few years, I ran against both of those individuals. But there's something that happens when it comes to Selfridge. There are no political parties when it comes to Selfridge. I'm proud as a congressman to lead the effort here, working with Senator Stabenow and Peters, working with our entire delegation, save one congressperson, and our governor, whose staff recently gave us a pat on the back for the testimonial I gave in rules to even get this initiative into the National Defense Authorization Act. So we're all on the same team when it comes to our national security and protecting Selfridge because of the great economic impact it has in the region and what it means for our national security.